time for some more Carmen's Sandiego. This time I'm watching Where on Earth is Carmen's Sandiego? The 1994 DiC animated series, which Fox Kids commissioned to meet their mandated educational programming quota.
Where is Carmen Sandiego? Carmen Sandiego, where on earth can she be?
And if you didn't already have Carmen Sandiego pegged as a master criminal, this iconic theme song, which I've always associated with her, was itself taken from a historical work. It's a reimagining of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's Sing to the Mighty Pasha Salim, from the opera The Abduction from the Seraglio. Ooh, hello. I think I just did an education. There were 4 seasons created for this show, with 40 episodes being made in total. However, since the episodes would often air wildly out of order, it's quite hard to confirm where one season starts and another ends. As such, I'm just going by Wikipedia's order. So starting off, we have Season 1, Episode 1, The Stolen Smile. This episode begins with Carmen swaggering through the Vincent van Gogh Museum in the Netherlands, flexing her maxed charisma stats. She steals the eyes from Van Gogh's self-portrait, which is either a copy of the original, or it's simply on loan from the Musée d'Orsay in France. Once the police arrive, Carmen makes an incredibly well-animated getaway. I've burned myself by saying this before, but based on this first impression, the action scenes in this show are completely devoid of cheapo DiC jank.
Finally, we have captured the world-famous Carmen.
Okay, I've already been duped. She didn't leave at all.
Sit. Good boy. I got away again, player.
So this is where the show really began to throw me. In the same vein as, say, Wreck-It Ralph, this show takes place inside one of the Carmen Sandiego PC games, and will occasionally just vault over the fourth wall to discuss the player's tactics. This means that our 2 Acme protagonists, Ivy and Zack, are simply selectable player avatars.
Okay, let's play, sis.
Please don't call me that, Zachary.
It also allows this Max Headroom-esque AI to pepper the show with narration and goofy educational asides. You know, without completely breaking the show's narrative.
Destination, the Netherlands, which is sometimes called Holland, which is sometimes called the Netherlands. The Netherlands, Holland, whatever you call it, it's the home of wooden shoes, tulips, and the world-famous windmills.
So, moments after being spawned into the Netherlands, Zack and Ivy find themselves on the trail of one of Carmen's henchmen, which is very much in line with how the games play out. By the by, there aren't enough moped chases in media. Thank you, Carmen Sandiego, for seeing to that. Well, if you want me to be pedantic about it, Holland consists of only 2 of the 12 provinces within the Netherlands. Okay, you know what? You're right, I'm just being an arse about this.
I have the biggest nose, but I might be lying. I have the biggest
Check it out,
nose,
Ivy.
but I might be lying.
It's booby trapped. It's a Zack.
Get up, Zach. It's just Carmen taunting us as usual.
Ivy, I don't know if you noticed, but Carmen's cute little messenger did in fact explode. So with big noses and lying as their prompts, the agents begin to brainstorm, which allows for some informative asides about Mount Rushmore and Pinocchio. That is, until they realise she was talking about a big-nosed lion, which then leads them to investigate the Egyptian sphinxes.
Who gave it the bogus nose job, Chief?
Legend has it an army might have once used the Sphinx for target practice.
Yeah, gives a whole new meaning to the term blowing your nose, huh?
Fun fact, Napoleon's involvement with the destruction of the Sphinx's nose was actually debunked within the last few years, leaving the cause up to either naturally occurring erosion or an act of vandalism from one Muhammad Sayyim al-Daya in the late 1300s. Goddamn, I feel like a history teacher reviewing this show. They spot some of Carmen's henchmen staking the place out, only for this to happen. Well, good thing you're immune to fall damage, brother. Okay, I guess only Zack is able to negate fall damage. Well, it's a good thing he had a space glider to hand. Having pilfered some of the henchmen's pesetas, they confirm that they are in fact Spanish. A hint which wouldn't work after 2002.
Carmen Sandiego has robbed another museum!
Don't tell me. In Spain, right, Chief?
Ooh, muy bien, señorita Ivy. Yes, she stole the nose from the portrait of Jaume Sabartes as a Spanish grandee by Pablo Picasso.
So, with a pair of eyes and a nose being taken away, the next target will obviously be a mouth. And no, ears don't matter. Disregard those.
Who's got the most famous smile in the world?
Tom Cruise.
No, from a famous painting.
The Mona Lisa has one of the most famous painted smiles of all time. Oh!
Ah, if only they went with Ivy's hunch. It was a real tragedy what happened to Mr. Cruise.
What? You...
Unfortunately, this brief victory is undermined by a pair of vile space cops, as well as the head honcho herself.
Ah, my favorite detective.
After escaping from Carmen, the pair finally track her to the Lascaux Caves, from which she broadcasts her victory to the whole world.
Now I will unveil my masterpiece for you, and then I'll keep it forever in my private art museum.
Obviously, Zack and Ivy use this opportunity to make their move.
Let's do it! Remove these bats immediately!
I love that Carmen is so fucking cool that being swarmed by a mob of angry bats elicits nothing more than mild irritation from her. With their gloating session having gone to pot, Carmen and Vile decide to leave with their stolen masterpiece. But amidst the chaos, the agents were able to pull the old switcheroo.
What?
I did a little artwork of my own.
So, with Carmen's plan thwarted, this episode ends, as they often do, with some playful taunting between her and the player, setting the stage for the rest of the series.
I stole some of the finest art in the world.
But I got it back.
Next time, you may not be so lucky.
Next time, I may just catch you.
Until then, player.
Season 2, Episode 1 is Skull and Double-Crossbones, and goddamn, am I excited to see some piracy. As in, actual swashbuckling piracy, not just normal theft. That is the norm for Carmen.
With these cannons, no one will dare stop us this time.
Okay, she's a ghostly pirate captain now. And any hope I had of concealing how hot I find her has been vaporized because... holy shit.
No bragging about your latest crime, Carmen?
Me?
I'm not the only thief in the world, player.
But I've got a hunch you're in on this somehow.
Hey, player, not to backseat game, but the ghost captain is obviously her. Exhibit A, look at her with your eyes. It's quite clearly her.
Jasmine! Ooh, yes! Jasmine is totally Irie, which means cool in Jamaican patois.
Okay, A, Roger Bumpus is just doing his Squidward voice here, which automatically makes this amazing. And B, even I, a person of Jamaican heritage, knows full well that using Jamaican slang without the strong accent to back it up is the most hilariously awkward sounding shit in the world. So, yeah, on that note, 10 out of 10 for that delivery.
Real ghosts don't need carbon monofilament cables to make it look like they're flying, or leave pirate flags behind.
We're lucky to have an Acme detective like you on the case, Jasmine.
Alright, let's talk about it briefly. I don't know how many of the accents in this show are authentically performed by natively speaking actors, if any. But in this one case, I feel like they get a pass because, you know, the overall goal of the show is still to educate us about the cultures in question. You know, I don't want you thinking I'm a complete stickler about the subject of representation. Obviously, there's leeway.
Check it out, landlubbers! About 500 years ago, everybody wanted cannons! Doc! You needed a cannon with everybody racing to grab up lands in the New World. Christopher Columbus
Uh-oh.
got to a lot of places first and claimed them for Spain.
This is my land, and this is my land, and this is my land. Go get your own land. Okay, it's your land. It's a nice land, I'm gone.
Whew, okay, time to unpack. Use of the word first there, dubious at best when we consider that natives exist, so maybe nix that. Retreating from the natives and backing off? Try slaughtering and enslaving them instead. The only thing this summary got right was the core premise of Columbus claiming shit that he clearly wasn't entitled to, so 1 out of 3. See me after class.
The other countries wanted a share of the fabulous gold and silver Spain was looting from the New World.
Okay, correctly identifying the colonialists as having looted, now you're looking at a 2 out of 4. Not a passing grade, but not enough to require faculty intervention.
So they used cannons to attack the Spanish ships heading for home.
And that was the beginning of pirating in the New World.
Huh. So it could be argued that the piracy of the Caribbean was just an example of thieves stealing from other thieves. I don't want to foreshadow too hard, but that is a very fitting topic to discuss in the CARMEN'S Sandiego series. Anyways, focusing on the case at hand, Ivy, Zack, and Jasmine now realise that they need to track Carmen to Port Royal, despite it having been washed away by a tsunami in 1692. When they get there, they find her getting away with the HMS Swan of 1673. Not to be confused with the 19 other HMS Swans, which have... Wow, goddamn, I have never done this much wiki research for a VidAMs episode.
What does the Japanese word tsunami mean?
Oh, piss, I actually skipped past that. Is it big wave?
Tsunami is a Japanese word that means overflowing wave.
You know what? Close enough. I'll take the point.
Player, info scan Sir John Hawkins, Sir Francis Drake.
Whoa, Jasmine, those guys were heroes.
Depends where you stood, Zack. When they weren't pirating for the Queen, men like Hawkins and Drake imported my ancestors from Africa to work on the Caribbean plantations.
Oh shit, wow! The show actually went there. Okay, good. Well done.
Macau! Macau!
And so they head to Macau, where they meet up with an Acme informant named Lee.
Why would Carmen want maps of submarine caves?
Maybe because submarine caves would be perfect for hiding one?
Whoa, a submarine! That could be it! Chief, requesting level 9 security info scan on top secret subs.
They try to warn the Russian Navy, who happen to be scouting out China, make of that what you will, that Carmen is arriving in a ghost ship to commandeer their submarine. However, it turns out they're a little bit too late.
Prepare to board, men!
You know, Carmen, if you were looking for a sub, all you had to do was ask me. Sneaking into Carmen's newly acquired vessel before it submerges, the gang make one last effort to thwart her. All before her streak of piracy becomes untraceable.
I radioed the Navy.
Oh, neat. Way to cause an international incident. Bye, idiots.
I torpedoed your plans for your own pirate sub, Carmen.
You may have stopped me from proving I'm the greatest pirate in history this time, but that doesn't mean I'm through with ocean-going crimes yet, player.
And just like before, the player is left to continue their pursuits. Season 3, Episode 1 is The Tigress. In this episode, Carmen is once again in Paris, staking out the Musée de l'Armée. She sneaks in to take Napoleon's army piece, but finds that a literal cat burglar has not only beaten her to the punch, but also left her to take the fall. Oh wow, a high-speed car chase from the Musée de l'Armée to the Arc de Triomphe, crossing one of the bridges of the River Seine no less. I guess this episode helped inspire Henry Oh, sorry, let me take this. Hello? Yes, speaking. Yes, no, I wasn't gonna... Oh, right, okay, I see, yeah, okay. Okay, bye. Well, I don't want my British citizenship revoked, so I guess we're moving on now.
Looks like you have some clever competition, Carmen.
Well, a certain philosopher once said, competition can make you stronger, player.
Which philosopher said that?
Me.
Okay, that is an incredibly dope line, I respect that. Hacking into Acme CrimeNet, Carmen decides to enlist the help of Zack and Ivy, while still maintaining an ongoing game of cat and mouse with them.
I've left a real stinker of a clue for you in Paris for our little game. Au revoir.
Player, we need to figure out what she meant about a stinker of a clue.
Stinky, French... Cheese! French cheese, Brie! She's in the region of Brie.
The sewer museum sounds like the perfect place to start sniffing out Carmen's latest clue.
Okay, well, I've never been more wrong about anything in my life. This is why I'm not a detective. In the sewer, they find a bottled spider costing $10.66.
What if this 1066 on the bill doesn't mean $10.66, but the year 1066?
Exactly, the year! William the Conqueror sailed from France and invaded England in 1066.
0800 00 1066. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. That's the phone number for Hastings Direct, an English insurance company named so after the historical Battle of Hastings in 1066. That jingle is burned into the mind of every English person you've ever met.
While Carmen's away, the cat will play the Tigress. Find her. Search the area.
Now pissed off at Zack and Ivy for failing to capture the Tigress, Carmen decides to take matters into her own hands.
Who was one of the world's greatest military strategists, known as Le Petit Caporal?
Psh, easy one. Napoleon Dynamite. Carmen's next stop is Nagoya, Japan, where she and the Tigress fight over a samurai sword.
This tiger lives in a place for the birds, especially those dressed formally.
Geographical hints? Bitch, you do not take a woman's gimmick. Carmen finally faces off against the Tigress in Antarctica. And this twist? I didn't see this coming.
How did you know I was coming here? I never gave you the Tigress's clue.
You didn't have to.
We made it up!
So, in something of a role reversal, Zack and Ivy were the masterminds this time, pulling the strings and leading Carmen on a wild goose chase. And even more impressively, they actually won.
Why the South Pole for our rendezvous, detectives?
You always have some escape up your sleeve, Carmen, so we baited you into the middle of the most desolate place on Earth, Antarctica.
God damn, this player? She's crushing it. Give her a few years and she'll make for a good speedrunner.
But you've made one strategic mistake.
Oh, yeah? And what would that be, Carmen?
Never let the enemy know your secrets.
Ah, dead run at the last moment. Oh, you hate to see it. And for this ending sequence, we get a new instrumental ending theme while we watch a montage of Carmen escaping. Much as I love the Mozart theme, I do appreciate this change of pace. Season 4, Episode 1 is Retribution, Part 1 of 3. And much as I'd love to see Carmen's backstory in which she's a badass detective, more than I probably should, this video doesn't need to clock in at a full hour, so if you feel like you're missing out, then that's your cue to go watch it yourselves when this video is done. That said, the first Season 4 episode that actually aired, which would make it Episode 1 in most people's books, is Episode 4, The Trial of Carmen Sandiego. This episode starts with Zack and Ivy following Carmen into a trap-laden Aztec temple, when suddenly...
Help! Zack! Ivy!
Come on, Carmen, what's the trick? Carmen? Carmen?
Huh. Now this is an interesting setup. Carmen is whisked away, leaving the player, Zack and Ivy, as the only ones capable of rescuing her. Which, of course, paints something of a target on them.
Who's ever after you could have done that with an atlatl.
A what?
Atlatl. It's an ancient hunting tool, at least 20,000 years old, that's still used today in some areas of the world.
And if it came with an instruction book back then, it would have told cavemen to place the spear in the atlatl and then whip it forward. This gives the spear a lot more power and distance than throwing it by hand.
I've never heard of this weapon, but that sounds incredibly goddamn sick. Hey, video games? Let me wield an atlatl. What are you doing?
Ivy, look, it's a clue on a stick! And not Carmen's style at all. A subpoena?
Yes, you heard him right. That was an incredibly violent legal summons. Heading to some Roman catacombs, they find themselves at the mercy of R.B. Traitor, a supervillain vigilante judge.
You betray the law!
Carmen Sandiego, you hereby stand accused of a lifetime of thievery, stealing objects of every shape and size, fleeing from justice, and on the night of September 4th, I charge you with breaking and entering Salisbury Cathedral in England to steal the Magna Carta.
What is going on here?
Your Honor, my client pleads that due to the obfuscation of the prima facie evidence and the absence of any sort of habeas corpus, the ipso post facto argument clearly demonstrates the charges herewith are specious and should be dropped post haste under the statute of...
You're dismissed, legalese.
I like to imagine that Traitor hires that guy specifically to come into every one of his court cases, make a jargon-filled nothing defense, and subsequently get dropped into a pit. The same pit every time. It's not a glamorous job, but someone has to do it.
Carmen's a thief, but where I come from, she gets to stand trial in a real courtroom, where you're innocent until proven guilty by a jury of your peers!
God bless America!
So in a very ironic twist, Zack and Ivy have to make a case for Carmen's innocence. Specifically for the theft of the Magna Carta, not everything else, which she is in fact guilty of. He offers them 24 hours to do so, or else he'll just execute her, by means of exploding handcuffs. The three of them all head to the Statue of Liberty to gather material evidence that Carmen was there on the date of the crime. Which is wild, considering that they quite clearly have video evidence. I guess that doesn't fly in Traitor's courts. However, Traitor doesn't make this easy for them, sending out some goons to seize the evidence away from them.
In the American court system, who determines if you are innocent or guilty?
Oh, I know this one. The cop kneeling on your neck.
In the American court system, you are tried and found innocent or guilty before a jury of your peers.
Oh, okay. You could have fooled me. So, they try a different strategy and warp to Salisbury in hopes of finding the real culprits.
Now, about the missing Magna Carta.
But it's not missing.
It's not?
What?
How could that be?
I'm only telling you this because you're Acme detectives. But when we were informed that someone might be planning to steal it, we took it off public display and moved it up here for safety.
Oh, well thanks for clearing that up, Mr. Van Dyke. If we weren't on a time crunch right now, we'd love to hear about your jolly holiday with Mary over some tea crumpets while we watch the footy.
Archaeology working with Traitor?
Of course not. They're both working for me. They would never have had the imagination to think of tricking you into helping with the biggest legal theft of the century.
Oh, fuck me! This show with its twists, though, that legitimately got me. Again. While Zack is able to snatch the Magna Carta away from Carmen at the last moment, she is able to pull another fast one by means of her transforming van.
We did all that and she never paid us. Do you know the kinds of legal fees she would have run up by now if we'd really been her lawyers? I mean, the billable hours, the research, the strategy sessions?
Carmen Sandiego meets Phoenix Wrights. Broderbund, Capcom, you both have the power to make this happen. The world needs this crossover.
Perhaps, player, but the jury's still out on that one.
And so ends another really good episode. Now with ending credits that feature Zack terrorizing a driving instructor.
I mean, did you mean what?
Moving on to the final duology of episodes, we have Season 4, Episodes 8 and 9. Can You Ever Go Home Again? Carmen sneaks into the estate of one Malcolm Avalon, intent on stealing one of his art pieces, only to be distracted by a certain painting.
Mother?
In her hesitation, she is forced to leave empty-handed, narrowly avoiding a mauling. This hiccup attracts the attention of reoccurring series antagonist Lee Jordan, who pledges to outdo her.
So long, Carmen.
While they're not fond of Lee themselves, Zack and Ivy's attention is currently taken by Carmen, who pulled this off.
Survey says time for a recount, bud. And hold on to your card catalog, Dewey Decimals. Carmen stole every book and document filed under the letter A.
What?
And they all mysteriously showed up here in San Francisco on what you might call a bluff overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge.
Okay, the how obviously doesn't matter. It's Carmen Sandiego, that's how. But why? It's a library. The books are all free. Anyways, this tips Zack and Ivy off as they head to Argentina. But all of the light-hearted geographical goofs start to feel a little tonally off when held against the confrontation between Carmen and Malcolm.
I did some investigating last night and learned some sketchy details about your wife and daughter. It must have been hard losing them.
I got word there was a fire. I raced across town and... No! I lost everything I cared about in the world that night. If my daughter had lived, she would have grown up smart and brave. Never a thief and coward who runs from the law like you. I don't know where you got this, but you never got it from me.
So, with Malcolm completely disowning Carmen due to her criminal history, the episode seemingly continues as normal, with Carmen pulling another big heist. However... she lets herself get caught. On purpose. She's so emotionally torn up over her father's scorn, she essentially gives up on the game. Which, unless this is another multi-layered gambit, I'm not gonna rule that out, honestly kinda got me.
I believe the greatest thing about human beings is their capacity to change. And I hope he agrees.
She does have your willful determination, Marguerite.
With Carmen captured, the Acme agents, and assumingly the player, get to celebrate their victory. But when Lee then decides to take Malcolm hostage, Carmen wastes no time in escaping in order to rescue him.
You are gonna use your great thieving skills to steal me anything I want in the world. Or you'll never see Daddy again.
I wasn't expecting this light-hearted edutainment show to hit me with a hostage blackmail situation. I am very pleasantly surprised by how hard this finale is going. Yes, it still has goofy interjections from Max Headroom, but they're easy to filter out.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Here's a list of everything I want. Don't disappoint me, Carmen.
If anything happens to Avalon, I'll hunt you down like the animal you've become, Lee.
Zack and Ivy warp into the room, but given that he's a former agent himself, Lee isn't particularly fazed by them. Another chase ensues, giving Carmen a chance to leave Zack and Ivy with her most cryptic clue yet.
Don't go looking inside your country. Info scan things that specifically are not allowed in our country.
According to some previous research I did for this video, a lot of blue cheeses aren't allowed in the States due to their harmless bacterial contents. And to that, all I can say is, holy shit, you guys are missing out. I am so sorry.
Carmen Sandiego and her vile henchmen have perpetrated a series of thefts unparalleled in the annals of crime. After getting away with the Hope Diamond in Washington, D.C., she proceeded to London, England, and stole the British crown jewels from the Tower of London. Then it was on to Tokyo, Japan, to abscond with a priceless samurai sword. Next stop, Los Angeles, California, where she stole the most valuable baseball card in the world.
Wow. When you just list them all off like that, it really puts into perspective how weird and arbitrary our sense of value is. It's almost like money is fake or something. Anyways, realizing that simply chasing her isn't going to stop her larcenous rampage, they refer back to the clue she gave them.
What's another way to say something is not allowed?
It's against the law?
Or it's forbidden.
It's quiet. It's a quiet city. What is the quietest city? Are there any cities in space?
As in Beijing's famous Forbidden City.
Lee, that could be it!
Oh, never mind. I got it wrong again. This is why I'm still not a detective. They warp in to find Carmen confronting Lee, who has one more demand for her.
Destroy Zack, Ivy, and the entire Acme Detective Agency once and for all.
Zack! Never!
Then you'll never see your father.
Carmen!
That is obviously out of the question, so one more action scene ensues, with Lee and his goons being the only armed participants, but consistently failing to land any of their shots, which, you know, it is an edutainment show for kids. I'm not expecting a bloodbath here. That said, one person does come out with a major injury, which makes for a very solemn ending.
I'm so sorry.
Who are you?
There she is!
Yep, the show ends with Malcolm getting amnesia. Overdone, I know, but in this case, it really twists the dagger, making it impossible for Carmen to live any semblance of a normal life. So, making one last escape and sharing one last exchange with the player, this series ends with Carmen seeking hypnotherapy for answers.
No one is giving me the locket. I'm finding it on the ground.
So, Avalon isn't your father then?
But wait, if I'm picking it up because I dropped it running from the fire, Avalon could still be my father. But maybe there are just some things we're not meant to know for sure.
And that was Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego? Now, from all I've seen, the slightly clumsy integration of its educational content makes this Carmen's weakest television outing. And yet, it's still within the top 90% of animated shows in terms of entertainment value. And it's easily the best cartoon that DiC has ever made, so that's just a testament to how well Carmen translates to TV. Honestly, Carmen is like the unrivaled MVP of VidAMs, and that is a well-deserved title for her. That said, next time we see her, we'll be back to a quiz show format, so make sure you study your history. Thanks very much for watching and patronizing. Especially Anonymous, Dan Brown, Fitzwilliam Ramsbottom, James Cameron, Pixel Pusher, Pokepal, Shameboy, and Thomas Walker. I don't bring this up much, but YouTube really likes to bury small channels like this one, so if you enjoyed this video but you can't afford to chip in, just share it with a friend, it's always appreciated. Thanks, and goodbye.